I hope we get past the stage of technical issues. If not, I'll just leave my slide off and speak. All right, so I don't know where you heard me last from, but I was appreciating our hosts for the opportunity, to learn beyond not just the spiritual aspect of our growth, but also the career and the mental aspect of our growth, which is very critical. And I was saying that the Bible says, that we will prosper. He says, I wish above all things that we prosper in good health, even as our soul prospers. So, as Christians, really, your prosperity is critical to the kingdom. And that's why we're doing this. And I also like to appreciate the team behind this session. Why? Because I saw a lot of publicity. I know a lot of work has gone into bringing this session to life. Lots of publicity online, lots of communication going through and coordination. Well done to the team. And thank you so much. Just before we start, a bit of a word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for this opportunity. And I bring myself under the leadership of the Holy Spirit this morning, asking for utterance, asking for wisdom to transform our career, wisdom to inspire a change and a transformation in our lives. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen. All right, so this morning we're talking about breaking through career stagnation, and I have about an hour to do this. I'm trusting that, at the end of the career, we have one or two things to go home with. And then I will ask that somewhere in the session, if you have any question, please drop it in the chat box. Uju would collate all the questions. And of course, I will attempt to answer them before the end of my session. So I'm starting by giving you a difference in a career and a job. A critical or major difference between a career and a job is that a career has a growth trajectory. What do I mean by that? A career is not transactional. A job is. A job is something you do in exchange for money. Okay. And so you can do all kinds of jobs. You can paint, you can draw, you can render any form of service, and even sell products, wearing different hats. As long as you create value and you have an exchange for your money, it's transactional. But a career is not so. A career transcends transaction. A career is, like your reason for being. It's that thing you do for fulfillment, but you're providing value. Sometimes you're earning money. Most times you're earning money. You're providing value, you're exchanging value for money. And that's not the major thing. But the major thing is, this is what you're wired to do, and while you're doing it, you're preferring solution, you're happy doing it, you're growing doing it, you're advancing. And your growth will be that you're not in the same level, year in, year out. There must be growth, visible growth. And your growth comes about when you improve on yourself and develop yourself. So I give an example. I join an organization or an industry at an entry level. At that level, I don't have a lot of experience. My experience is maybe basically NYSC, or maybe teaching in the school or volunteering somewhere. At that level, I do not have a skill. I do not have, experience, so to speak. But by the time I do this for a year and two and learn more and gather more experience, I should expect to move to the next level. Because for every development or improvement in your career or in your skill or yourself, it should move you to the next level or the next step of your career. And so that's what I mean when I say that careers are not transactional. Careers give you that opportunity to advance and to grow. So I will expect that if you are in a career, because I know some people will be confused by the time we start unraveling what we have today. If you are in a career, the expectation is growth. The expectation is constant development and growth. But if you're just doing a job that is transactional, the possibility that you are just in one place, you are not improving, but you're making money. is there. And so the first thing to do would not be to apply the principles I'm teaching today, but the first thing to do would then be to ask yourself, am I in a career or a job? And if I'm in a job, how do I move to a career? And if I'm in a career and I'm not growing, how do I grow? So having given that foundation, I'll just move to the next thing on my slide, which is what exactly is career stagnation? Career stagnation is almost the opposite of career growth and development. It means when you're experiencing a little or no growth in your career. I like to tell a story of sometime when I was, hiring. I moved into an organization that was 20 years old, and then we were compiling all the CVs that people had dropped in the organization over the years. And, we picked up one of the CVs and said, oh, let's invite this person for an interview. And the lady comes in for an interview and she says, oh, I'm so glad and happy that you still have my CV. And the moment she said that, she said, oh, I dropped my CV here 7 years ago. And I said, oh, great. So can I have an updated copy of your CV, since this one I have was dropped 7 years ago? And to my shock, she brought out the same exact CV I had in my hand. So what does that mean? It means that this person has been on the same spot, no growth in her education, no growth in her years of experience. Of course, growth in her years of experience, because she has only moved in numbers from 7 years to 7 years after. But the role she had in her organization, the same. The organization where she was 7 years ago, the same. The education that she had 7 years ago, the same. The trainings she had 7 years ago, the same. This is a typical example of someone who is stagnated in her career. What that simply means is that there has been no growth. There has been no movement in terms of advancement. And so this is a typical example if you want to know what it means to be stagnant in your career. It means that you haven't grown, you're not adding even any form of experience, because experience is not just the number of years. Experience is also the learnings and the skills that you acquire within the number of years. So some people say, oh, I have 16 years of experience in my career. The question is, in that 16 years of experience, have you grown? Have you moved in your learning? That's a question we must ask. And one of the reasons I tell people to leave their job is when they stop growing. When you're in the organization and you're doing the same thing over and over, you're not being exposed to new learning. You're not improving in skill. You're not gathering experience. You're gathering experience when you're, doing different things in different ways, learning different ways of doing it, and gathering more skills, gathering exposure. Maybe you're now working with, a different set of people. Probably, for example, you're working with a team of project managers in your previous role, even though you are, for example, an HR person, and you're working with a set of team, and somewhere along the line, you're rotated into another team or another business unit. You're learning differently. You're in the same role, doing the same thing probably, but you're learning differently because you're working with a different team. There must be something new in the way that you're applying yourself on the job. And if there's nothing new, you're in the same job, you're in the same role, you're in the same organization, working with the same set of people, with the same set of skill over a period of time, you're probably stagnated in your career. So that's just to let you know what career stagnation is. Now, what are the signs? I'll go through this very fast. Just in case you're wondering, am I stagnated? How do I know I'm stagnated? One of it is, over the years, there's been no promotion in your job. Okay, there's been no advancement. And promotion doesn't necessarily mean being promoted within the same organization. No. You can be promoted in terms of you're moving from a level into another level, even in another organization. That can be promotion because you've moved from your current level to the next level. And anytime you move from your current level to the next level, the demand on your skill, okay, changes because you are now operating at a higher level. The same set of skill you used in your former role or in your former job is not the same set of skill you bring into the new job. So that's a promotion, that's an advancement. If you're in the same job, you're not feeling challenged, okay? You're bored. Every day you come to work, you're doing the same thing over and over, and you're lacking enthusiasm. You're disengaged, maybe. You're feeling like, I'm not supposed to be here. And if you're stagnated, you will know, because there's a feeling that comes with it. You're not motivated. Every day is Monday, your heart is beating, you're just, then that's a sign. Another one is you haven't grown in terms of skill. Your skill development is on a hold. And skill development is engineered by you, no other person. That's more like growing in the skill that you have, acquiring new skill, acquiring new knowledge, learning, different things that would, help you to be a different and a better version of yourself. So if you're not learning any longer, there's a saying I love so much. It says that once you stop learning, you start dying. The next one is when you're feeling under challenged. I talked about that before. When your work feels so easy, you're in your comfort zone. Nothing is challenging you anymore. No pressure, no deadlines, everything is just easy and boring. And you just come, you can even do your work sleeping because it's not challenging anymore. There's nothing new to learn because you've done the same job. It's become a routine over and over. You're stuck. And when you're stuck, you're stagnant. Then you have increased frustration. A lot of people in the workplace today are frustrated. They're not frustrated because anything is frustrating them, is because they do not love their job. They don't love their job. Their colleagues and their organization, of course, are impacted because when you're in this state, you can't give the best of yourself. And all the time, you're taking it out on your direct reports, you're taking it out on your team members, you're taking it out, and the organization suffers because the productivity is low. Your colleagues suffer because you're constantly cranky, you're frustrated, you're not happy. That's not a good place to be. If you're in a career where you're growing, where you're having fun doing that job, you bring a positive energy to work and everybody feels it, including the organization is positively impacted. Talk about lack of recognition. A lot of times when you're stuck and stagnant in your career, it rubs off on everything that you do because at that point your performance is low. If your performance is not low, then your performance is normal. There's no breakthrough. There's no point where you have gone above and beyond, challenged yourself and come up with something new, and something creative and innovative because you are just on the same level. You're saying, oh, I'm doing my job. Well, you're doing your normal job the normal way. And so that way, the organization or the people that you work with or your line manager cannot feel, the positive impact, or they cannot feel any creativity or innovation coming through from you. And at that point, you just feel, not recognized. Of course, for someone who is not stagnated, who is feeling fulfilled, who is feeling challenged, you would always come up with something new and you would get that recognition and acknowledgement all the time because you're being creative. Now, you're resistant to change. That's another sign of career stagnation. If there's been an improvement in your industry, maybe in terms of the technology or even in your organization, if there are changes and you are finding it difficult to adapt, you're just there and you don't want to move with the tide, you are just on your own. The organization has left you, your colleagues have left you, and you're just in one place. trying to still do the same thing the old way it is done, at that point you are stagnant, because adapting to new changes, adapting to new technology, it means growth. It ticks off, that now I have learned something new. I have come into something new. And every time you come into something new, you feel good about it. You feel great about yourself because you are learning and you're adapting. So if you're resistant to change in your organization, any form of change whatsoever, then you need to check it again. You have limited networking opportunities. A lot of times when people are stagnant, they don't want to socialize. They don't want to go out there and network with their peers. They don't want to go into industry or, industry events or conferences and so on, because they are feeling left out. One of the feelings that come with stagnation is feeling of inadequacy. You feel like you're not there, and because you're not growing. So you really feel less of yourself. And all the time you feel this way and do nothing about it, it becomes difficult for you to interact with your peers because you're afraid to talk. You don't know, people have moved on. And when you interact, it may be obvious that you're still behind. So that imposter syndrome, or that inner feeling of inadequacy just creeps in and makes you isolate yourself from your peers, from the professionals in your industry, and then you limit your networking. The next one is when of course, we've talked about feeling isolated, a sense of being disconnected, not only from the people in your industry, but even in your organization. You start to feel less. And those are the signs. Those are the signs of stagnation. And when you feel this way, if you don't immediately pick up yourself and start to engage, personal development and all that you need to do to come out of that space, you would just gently and quietly fizzle out from the scene, not only in your organization, in the industry, and of course, in your own self. You feel so left out. Right. So those are the signs of career stagnation. And I'll move straight to why. Why do we get stagnated in our career? There are many reasons why people are stagnated in their career. One of the reasons is lack of personal and career development. I think this is even chief of it because every other thing revolves around it. Stagnation is when there's no growth, when you're stuck. So the major, for me, cause of career stagnation is when you're not developing yourself. And I also need to mention that you do not need to be in an organization to experience career stagnation. I have always believed that an organization is only a platform where you express the skills that you have and gain some more experience. But if you're not working in an organization, you can actually be developing yourself actively. And that way, there is no difference between yourself and the people who work in any organization. And that's why I started by saying that your career is not a job. Your career is, is what you are called to do. Your career is what you are made to do. Okay, and that's the ideal situation. I know that a lot of people are currently in careers that they are not happy with. But it gets to a point in your career where you need to tell yourself the truth. If you need to make a career switch to something that you enjoy doing, something that you will live your entire life doing, because there's no retirement in career. A doctor is a doctor. A lawyer is a lawyer. A teacher is a teacher. That's you're wired to be in that career. And so whether you retire or not, that career is in your DNA. And wherever you find yourself, you keep expressing yourself in that area. So there is no retirement from career. A lot of people may leave their paid employment. They don't leave their career. I don't stop being a HR professional, right? That's my career. So even if I live where I'm working currently and I'm not working anywhere, I am still a HR professional. And that's what a career should be. A career should be what you do for life, and you must enjoy doing it. And the only way you can enjoy doing it is that you're constantly growing. And how do you grow? You're constantly learning. You're constantly exposing yourself to personal and career development. So one of the causes, excuse me, one of the causes of career stagnation is when you are not pursuing opportunities for learning and growth. When you're not being trained, you're not training yourself, you're not learning new skill, you're not networking, you're not upgrading your educational qualification. You've been on OND, I think it's called ND now. You've been an ND holder. You don't want to take a HND, you don't want to take a BSc, or you've been a BSc holder, you don't want to go to a master's degree level and take an MBA, and just keep learning, keep exposing yourself to learning. It improves your knowledge of the career that you're building. And of course, it gives you more value, because the more you know, the more you learn, the more you know. And the more you know, the more value you can offer. And the more value you can offer, the more you can earn. And that's why I did not talk about earning first in career. Jobs are transactional. If you do a job, I'm supposed to pay you, But in career, as you grow naturally, the more you know and the more you be in your career, the more you can earn. So it's in career, you put personal development first. You don't put the money first. So another cause of career stagnation is when you have limited advancement opportunities. When in your organization, you have looked at the top and there is no opportunity for growth, you will be stuck, because what that means is that the level where you are now is the level you remain. And mind you, I had said earlier that career is not all about the money, because I also know that you can be at the same level in your career. You're not learning anything new, you're not gaining any extra exposure, but you're earning. And maybe your organization is even increasing your pay because you have come to the cap, you've come to the top or the peak in the organizational structure, and you can't grow beyond that. So the organization may increase your pay on a yearly basis, but are you growing in your career? And that's a question you must ask yourself. And let me also mention a caveat that being promoted in your organization or moving to the next level is not the only way to growth. You can actually just grow, unilaterally. And what does that mean? There's a vertical growth and there's a horizontal growth. A vertical growth means that you're moving from level 1 to level 2 to 3, but a horizontal growth gives you the opportunity to spread, wide, your capabilities. You're taking in more opportunities. I remember one time in my career where I had headed the recruitment function of the business, and for me, there was no growth up. And what did I do? I said, I've done this for quite a number of months and maybe a year. I would need to take in more. So I took in more by absorbing another function into my role. So I absorbed another function, giving me a wider view, giving me, a wider view to stretch my capability and my capacity, within the same organization. So I didn't grow unilateral, I didn't grow up, but I spread out, if you can understand what I mean. So if you feel stuck in your organization and maybe you don't have the opportunity for upward growth, you can take in more opportunities. If you're in HR, for example, you can say, oh, can the sustainability team report into me? Can the legal team report? Can the admin team report? Can I get into the finance space or technology? That way, it gives you the opportunity to learn more skills, manage more people, interact with people in other spaces. As you do that, you're learning. The next one is complacency. When you're in a place of, complacency, you are what's the word now? You're in a complacent state, right? You're not learning anymore and you're comfortable there, right? You are not feeling challenged to even, learn anything new or to live where you are to another place. That's one of the causes of career stagnation. Is a state of being. Complacency is a state of being. And a lot of us are in that state where we feel, oh, I don't want anything. I don't want any change. I don't want to move to another place. I don't know what it may offer me. Where I am now, I'm just okay. Watch it, because if you're okay where you are and you are not growing, then you're stagnant. Okay. The next cause of career stagnation would be unclear career goals. When you are not sure what this career is all about, you are not sure where you want to be, you don't have a defined career plan. Oh, I want to be a HR director in the next 2 years. Oh, I want to be, in the board of director of different organizations by this age. Oh, I want to be able to pivot my career into technology at this stage. So there must be a goal. There must be a plan for your career. Because if you don't have a goal, then anywhere you are at any point in time becomes okay. Okay, that will cause career stagnation. But if you have a goal, if you have a career path and you have a plan, you have a direction, you're moving. And when you're stagnant, and the next thing you're asking yourself is, this is not where I'm supposed to be. What do I do to move to the next level? Are you still there? Please, can I get a response?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we are.
All right.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you.
Yes, we are.
All right. All right. So let's get on. The next cause of career stagnation is when the leadership, ineffective leadership, in your organization. And it may not be just your organization. It may be, that you have not submitted yourself to any form of mentorship, or leadership. So nobody is checking on your growth. Nobody is asking you, so what's the next step? Nobody is asking you about your personal development plan. Nobody is asking you anything. So when you don't have that leadership, it can actually bring you to a comfort zone where you are just there and nobody is checking and inspiring you to move to the next level. Organizational changes can cause stagnation. For example, restructuring, downsizing, changes in the company direction, it can make people stagnant in their career. But the thing about stagnation is once you catch yourself in it, it will then require your adaptability. And that's why I keep referring to the opening remarks by our host, Pastor Obi, who said adaptability. A lot of things are happening. And the truth is, if you're not up and adaptable, you'll find yourself going under. So when your organization restructures, a lot of people have left not just the industry, not just their organization, but the industry, and not just their industry, they've dropped their career as a result of restructuring, because you're not in that mental state to bounce back into the job or downsizing. So you must constantly challenge yourself, no matter what the change organization is going through. You are not your organization, and your organization cannot hold your career bound. So once you leave that organization, you move to the next one. Limited networking. If you are not networking with people within your industry, you need to start, because every time that you attend your industry conference, okay, you go for learning sessions within your industry or even within the organization, it triggers something in you. And for example, you're in this session today. I believe that after today, you will have action points to implement. So when you stop networking, not just online, but offline, you're in an environment where you're challenged, where you're thinking, of ways that you can improve yourself. And of course, if you're seeking for opportunities, you're stagnant, you're seeking for opportunities, but you are not networking, you would not get opportunities, because opportunities would come from different places. So if you isolate yourself, you don't find yourself in circles or in groups or in groups where opportunities can easily flow to you, then you're restricted from information that can help you move to the next level. A lot of people are afraid of change. A lot of people are afraid of moving out of their comfort zone. Maybe they are masters in what they are doing now. They are already experts, and they are being they are okay where they are in their organization. So they are afraid of, if I move to the next job, am I sure that the skills that I have now, okay, would still present me in the light that I am now. So a lot of people are unsure of the skills they have, and they are not feeling challenged to move to the next organization or to the next level. So that fear can hold you in the same place. The fear of stepping outside of your comfort zone, it can prevent you from growing or from even going for growth. But when you're confident in your abilities, your networking, you know that you are at the same level of knowledge with your peers in the industry, you have enough exposure, you know that there is nothing thrown at you with the capacity and capability you have that you're not able to grab and, make the best of it, then you will be on the path to career growth. Work-life balance. A lot of people are burnt out in their personal life. Some people need a break. Some people have invested so much in their career and they are physically exhausted. That can cause a career stagnation, because when you do not have the energy to move to the next level, you don't have the energy to learn something new, to run a project and so on. When the energy is not there, you just feel like, what, just leave me where I am, I'm fine. And that can be an inhibition to your career growth. The next one will be when you're in a negative work culture, when your environment is toxic, when you don't have support where you work, you can be disengaged. And anyone who's disengaged may be stagnated, especially if you're there in it for so long. And, the next one is lack of recognition. I won't dwell so much on this. I've spoken a bit about them. Changing industry dynamics. If your industry is experiencing a shift and you're not developing yourself to catch up with the evolving trend, you can be stagnated. Lack of self-confidence and self-doubt. You're undervaluing yourself. Sometimes it's relocation. You move to a new part of the world or a new part of, the country, and you just feel like you're not adapting to the culture there. You can adapt to the environment. You just get stuck. Changes in your phase of life. Some people, they just took in, maybe for the ladies in the house, I've seen people drop out of their career, just having a baby, and everything just changes for them. And they're not able to come out from that motherhood, phase of their life to face their career. So they just say, what, I need to give time to my family for now. Let my career be on the other side. That can stagnate your career, especially if you're out of it and you're not learning anything new. You're not developing yourself. You're just focusing on your motherhood phase of life. And this can be any phase, not for the ladies. That's just an example. So lots of job and mobility, and so on can also stagnate your career. Let's talk about how can we overcome. How do we overcome career stagnation? Because everyone will go through this phase at one point or the other. The first thing is to catch yourself in it. And that's why this session is very important. Ask yourself, am I currently experiencing career stagnation from all that has been shared? First of all, self-reflect. Ask yourself, what are my current skills? What are my interests and values? What's causing my stagnation if I am? From the diagnosis, we've done earlier to say these are the causes of career stagnation and these are the signs. You will know by now if you're stagnated. And if the answer is yes, the first thing is to ask yourself, why am I stagnated? What's causing this? And what can I do? So a self-assessment is first, and the second is set a goal. Let there be a clear goal on how you want to break out of career stagnation. Let it be very actionable goals. Get a mentor. At this point, I'm not going through my slide. Get a mentor. A mentor inspires you. A mentor would speak to you. And of course, a mentor will share, their stories with you on how they've been maybe through the same phase of life and how they came out of it. They will hold you accountable. They say mentors are an ear to listen, a brain to pick, and a push in the right direction. Go for personal development. Please, if you did not take anything out of this session, take personal development out of it. And what's personal development or career development? It is the constant learning that you engage in to be better in your career. You would constantly learn. The constant learning, the workshops you attend, the seminars you attend, the conferences you attend, the business school you go to, the improvement in your educational qualification, of course, through the exposure to learning, it's constantly challenging yourself to learn something new in different ways. Is the mentorship, is the community you join, is the coaching you get. All those things are career and professional development. Please do not trivialize them. They are very important and they are instrumental to your career growth. Always seek feedback. They say feedback is the food for champions. If they give you constructive feedback on how you need to improve or the gaps that you have, take them seriously and take actionable steps to improve on your career and yourself. Expand your network. I've talked about that. Take on new challenges. Okay, if you feel that currently you're doing the same thing, it's being monotonous, it's being routine, please, by all means, take on new challenges. Look for other opportunities, even if it is not in your own organization. Look for it outside. These days you can hold actually multiple roles or multiple jobs at the same time. You can wear many caps at the same time. You can take on projects that will increase your capacity and your capabilities. Explore lateral moves. I've talked about that to say you can move horizontally if you're not moving vertically, and that expands your capacity, improves you also on the skill and your leadership. Update your resume, get an online presence, very important. A lot of people say that LinkedIn intimidates, and I say no. It should not intimidate, it should challenge. If you go on LinkedIn and people share their stories, people share their wins and their achievements, people share their promotions and career moves, please go there, like it, and know that, and of course, learn from their stories, what they did to get there, and it should challenge you to even do yours. It shouldn't intimidate you, no. It should challenge you. So go online, have an online presence, engage with people, and learn. Then also set up your own brand online. Having a brand online is very critical. For a professional, people will look you up online before they call you for a job. People will always want to know who you are beyond, what you present in your CV. So these days, if you say, oh, I'm sure when they say, oh, Shola Odeyinde is coming to speak in so place, people will first of all go to say, oh, who is she? What does she have in terms of the experience, the knowledge? People would always look you up. So with that in mind, make sure that your online presence is professional. Make sure that you're also creating a brand for yourself, a brand of who you would want to be known for. Consider a career change. If in your industry, there's been a shift, okay, or in your career, you're not feeling fulfilled, what you can do to reignite your passion is to move to a different industry or a different specialization or profession or career. And doing that would, it will rejig your, it will make you come alive, okay, to reignite your passion. And once you start doing that, you feel challenged again. So you may want to, if you're not feeling fulfilled, you may want to assess yourself and ask yourself, where else would I, be more of myself and find fulfillment? And what do I do to get there? Staying positive and patient is very critical. Don't be too hard on yourself. Maintain positive attitude all the time. Okay. So even if your career is stagnated, one of the things you can do is this learning you're gaining. And once you do that and set your goals, know that you cannot, this change cannot happen in one day. So please give yourself some grace and stay positive and patient while you're also working on your plan and your goal to move to the next level. Celebrate your small wins. I've talked about mentorship. So let's go to some of the action points. Some of them are repeated. Upskill and reskill. Upskill is basically improving or increasing, updating your knowledge and skills. And when I say reskill, it means that there's been, for example, a change in the skill you have. You need to evolve. So you need to pick up, a different skill to be able to function. Unlearn, learn, and relearn. I heard that again during the welcome address. We need to learn, we need to unlearn, we need to relearn, because the world is constantly evolving. So with the evolution, you also need to evolve, because if the world is constantly evolving and you must be an active player in your industry, in your organization, and in your field, you must continue to learn. You must continue to learn, expose yourself to every learning opportunity that you can get. Build your brand. I've talked about that. Be visible online, have a consistent message, be known for something. What's your online presence? What's your brand? What's your reputation out there? Network, connect, collaborate. Then some of the skills you need grit, you need adaptability, you need multicultural skill and emotional intelligence. I'm rushing now because of my time. What is grit? Grit is mental toughness. It's never giving up in the face of adversity. You agree with me now that we're in a VUCA stage, volatility, uncertainty everywhere, and the only way that you can constantly evolve is having grit, having perseverance, resilience, courage, okay, passion and conscientiousness. What does that even really mean, and how does that apply? Imagine, for example, you're in an organization where you say it's toxic. I hear that all the time now, that my organization is toxic, my team is toxic. And a lot of people actually bow out of pressure. You're pressured in that toxic environment. Who is creating the toxicity? And why are you a victim of a toxic environment? Why are you not the catalyst? Why are you not the one, catalyzing the change, the positive change that needs to happen in that environment? Grit makes you tough mentally. It makes you stay in the face of adversity and say to yourself, no matter what's going on here, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here because there's still something here for me to give. There's still something here for me to do. And I'm not going to bow out of pressure because the environment is toxic, or because the work is a lot, or because I'm not liked by the team, or all of those things. Or you're even in an organization or an industry that is going through a change, maybe restructuring and all that. And maybe somehow you're affected and you get out of there. Grit makes you come back up. Is the resilience to get back up when you fall and not stay down. That's what you need, because a lot of people undergo adversity and they stay down. Okay, I love one of the scriptures. The Bible says that if you fail in the time of adversity, your strength is small. So Is your strength small? It talks about capacity. Capacity is your ability to take in more and more and more and more. When you're pressured and then you go give up, your strength is small. Okay, so what do you do to build strength? What do you need to do to build capacity, to have a mental toughness? That's great. And this is what you need to develop. The next one is adaptability. And I love, again, during the welcome address, I said it is almost like our host saw my slide. He talked about adaptability, your ability to adjust to changes, your ability to respond quickly and evolve to be effective in your environment. That's very key. Because these days, if you're working in a fast-paced environment and everything is just happening, and a lot is expected of you, if you do not have the skill, and this is a skill, it is adaptability, is an ability to adapt. So pardon me, it's not a skill, it's an ability. And it's also your ability to take in more, to stretch, to reappraise the situation and put yourself and adjust yourself. So we have learning adaptability, we have reactive adaptability, social adaptability, creative adaptability, and lifestyle adaptability. I'm not going to go into details because I'm now very conscious of our time. How much time do I still have?
Okay, Shola. Well, you're out of time, but you could squeeze in 5 more. So we'll use the remaining for questions and answers.
Thank you.
Just wrap it up. Yes, ma'am. So we can start with questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So talk about lifestyle adaptability. I would like to talk about this a bit. Is your ability to manage your schedule, ability to achieve work-life balance, and this helps you to deal with pressure. For some of our friends in the diaspora, I'm currently in the UK, and I see a lot of stretch on their time and the challenge for them to manage work, life, family. That's a big issue, and I believe that if you're adaptable to your lifestyle, you would always find support systems. You would always find, and support system doesn't just come in form of humans. It comes in form of technology. It comes in form of, is your ability to creatively find a different way to adjust yourself to the prevailing circumstance, where you find yourself. Very important, because if you cannot adapt to the lifestyle that your current situation demands, you will bow to it. And if you bow to it, you become stagnant. And that means you're not able to achieve all that you set out to achieve for yourself. Let's talk about social adaptability. And this is very critical because I believe, and I always say that there are only 3 people who are critical to your career growth. And that is God. I know that there is a God factor. And the next one is people. You cannot succeed without people. People would help you. People would sponsor you. People would mentor you. People would grow you. People would challenge you. People would inspire you. People, you cannot overemphasize the place of people in your career growth. The third one is you. So let's talk about you. Very critical, because even when God is blessing you and has answered your prayer, if you do not go out and act, you will still be challenged, because the best God can do is to answer your prayer. He has already answered you. He has blessed you. He has given you all that pertains to life and godliness. What are you doing with it? Are you reaching out to people? Are you interacting with people? Are you having good relationship with people? Are you building your network and managing your network? Because there is also the part of managing your network for sustainability and to get what you want out of your network. There's also the part of of course, of giving back. And when I talk about this, I want to talk more about how you service your social network. to get something out of it. I read a book, a very powerful book, How Women Grow. And it talked about the difference in having a network and leveraging your network. You may have 1,000 people on your social media, or you may have 30,000 followers and 1 million. But the truth is, if you're not leveraging those people, knowing how to ask, knowing what to ask, knowing how to be of value in that network that you have, is what is more critical than the number of people in your network. So that's very important. A lot of us have people, but we don't know how to leverage that relationship. Leverage means getting what you want, excuse me, out of that relationship. And that's one of the things I want us to take out of here, because you cannot succeed without people. Multicultural skill is very critical, because when you talk about adaptability, we're talking about your ability to adjust. No matter where you are, you should be able to, adjust and adapt yourself to different culture in the organization. So when I talk about multicultural skill, I'm talking about your ability to recognize, understand, appreciate, and interact with people of other culture. It gives you a global mindset. So no matter where you find yourself, you quickly adjust. You're in the UK, you're in Canada, you're in US, you're in Nigeria, you're with the Igbos or the Yorubas. I was speaking somewhere and I said to them, somebody raised the question to say, oh, my boss is Yoruba and always doing parapo. I'm Igbo, so all the time she's talking with the people who are Yorubas. I say, you too, when you enter there, just say Ekaroma. You too, learn to adapt yourself. Learn to chip in one language or the other. People love it when you're trying to adapt to their culture or, speak their language and so on. They open up to you the more. So when you see them parapoing, go and learn one thing that you will just chip in and everybody will laugh. And then that may just break, that circle and you can come in. So constantly find ways to work with people of different culture and adapt yourself. Of course, empathy, it generates empathy, active listening, sensitivity, curiosity. When you have all this in place, you're able to easily work with people across culture. And the final one will be emotional intelligence, which is very critical, very, very critical. It's about managing your emotion. Every decision you take are emotional. Let me say that again. Every decision you take about yourself, about your career, whether to reach out, whether not to reach out, whether to take a training or a certification or to improve yourself in any way, they're all emotional, driven decisions. Okay, so understanding your emotion, expressing it appropriately, understanding the emotion of others, knowing when to, assert yourself, knowing when to withdraw, knowing when to smile, knowing when to be stern, all those things, it's a training or a skill you must get for you to be able to, remain relevant out there, even as you grow your career. Talked about self-awareness. That's a component of emotional intelligence. Knowing yourself, knowing who am I? How do I come across to people? What are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? What can I work on? How do I adjust? And so on. Self-regulation, self-control, very critical. Self-management, social awareness, empathy, and having a positive outlook to life. Now, I'm not going to dwell on personal branding. I've talked about it, but it's critical. Personal branding just gives you a solid brand, and it makes you consistent and known for something. How does personal brand enhance your professional life? In many ways. It gives you credibility and trust, recognition, and so many things. So as I wrap up, in conclusion, I would always like to conclude my slides with these statements that hold very true. What gives your brand visibility is your relevance. Please do not go online and set up a brand when you are not really doing something of value. Don't just go there and be posting pictures and so on. You must be, must be giving value, and that's relevant. What gives you relevance is value. So what value are you giving to the community that you're building and trying to build? When people look you up online, what do they see? Do they see value? Do they learn? Do they get inspired? Are they impacted? If there is nothing like that, you need to rethink your brand and ask yourself, what do I want to be known for? And how do I want to, appear in the face of people? Then the next one is, what gives you value is your competence. If you are not competent, you don't have skill, knowledge, and ability, you are not valuable. I had said it in the beginning, your value is driven by the skill that you have, the experience you have acquired, the capabilities you have. That's what drives value. Okay. And so if you're not competent, you need to build competence. Competence also gives you confidence. If you're not competent, you will not be confident to mingle and to network with people and to even have a brand presence. Because what would you ask yourself, oh, what will I even be saying? Who will listen to me? And who knows, who would be, impacted by the things that I put out there. So please build competence in all your getting. What enhances your competence is your continuous learning. I said it earlier, if you stop learning, you start dying. If you're not learning, then you're stagnating. Okay? It is the learning, the constant learning that improves you, that gives you growth and advancement. So please do not stop learning. Don't stop reading a book. Don't stop going for sessions like this. Don't stop mingling with people within your industry and discussing trends in your industry, in your field, in your career. Just constantly learn, because learning would enhance your competence. Academic is general, but education is personal. These are some of my favorite quotes. Okay. What's academic? You went to school, you have a degree. That's beautiful. We have a lot of people that have degrees, but we cannot see that it applies in their personal life. So after getting your academic and your certificate, go ahead and educate yourself. That's something you need to do for yourself personally. And education is continuous learning. So I ask you a question, which skill are you learning this year? What are you going to do to move yourself to the next level? What are you going to do to improve yourself? What knowledge would you acquire? What abilities would you build? And what skill would you build? And remember, I always say, your personal development is your personal responsibility. Your parents sent you to school and you're out of school. Nobody is going to push you again to the next level. You would push yourself. So you own that responsibility, take it and make the best of it. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best.
Wow. Thank you so much, Shola. A round of applause, guys, please. Make it happen. Make it rain. Thank you so much, Shola Odeyinde. If you joined in late, well, I'm glad that the session has been recorded and you get the opportunity to have the recording to play back. Most times we don't actually go back to the recordings. Most times you don't, but I suggest that you do for this one. Thank you so much, Shola. All right, now it's time for us to ask questions. I would like us to be orderly about it. So with a show of hands, you raise your hand on the platform, and then you will unmute. If you are not asking questions yet, please kindly mute your microphone so that there is some order. Okay, we have hands already raised. I would like to also suggest that you please hit the nail on the head with your question. Let's not go around about it because of time. Okay, I see that Tega has a hand raised. Please, could you go ahead with your question, Tega? Unmute and please go on with your question. Are you still there, Tega? Okay. I think her hand is down.
It was an error, sorry.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So if I have questions, this is the time to go ahead and ask Shola your questions before we let her go. And then prep for the second segment. of the program for today? Please raise your hands and then unmute. I don't see any hands. Do you want us to proceed?
Hello, I raised up my hand.
Oh, you did? Oh, I bet. Apologies. Peter, is that Peter? Yeah.
Yes,
go
please.
ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay, I can see Peter, Michael, and Dara. That's 3 questions. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is a very rich presentation, and it speaks to a lot of issues. Thank you so much, Shola. That was a good one. I just want Shola to speak to this particular issue, authenticity. A lot of people come up with stories on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and all the rest. And by the time you begin to ask them to speak to issues or around business complexities, you see that all that they are coming up with is probably what ChatGPT gave to them, or something they've copied somewhere and they are just downloading and giving it to people just to have a kind of public branding, to give them a kind of public branding that we give them an impression that they really understand what the message they are trying to speak to. So how do we connect this authenticity to our personal branding?
Okay, I'd like to add that tomorrow one of our facilitators will be dwelling a lot on personal branding. So first, you cannot miss that. But we'll give Shola an opportunity to just chip in a thing or two about it. Peter, so you see, you have to be around tomorrow. There's a whole session on personal branding. Okay, Shola, please go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. And that's a very good question, because I see that, in the world that we are today with this generation, this is something big, being in the HR space, I see a lot of times when people, submit a CV that is all looking good. When you speak to them, they are very far from what they have presented. So authenticity is key. My definition of authenticity in this context is being true to yourself. Let who you say you are be who you truly are. Let what you say you know and do be truly what you know and do. I have no problem with ChatGPT, to be honest. That's one of my latest discovery and a tool I would always go to. Okay. It generates ideas for you. However, beyond ChatGPT and all the superficial thing, who are you? And at the end of the day, you really cannot force people to be authentic. People can be superficial online, but when you come and shake them up, when you speak to them and you see that they do not have that substance, they do not have that value that they present, they fall like a pack of cards, and that's just it. So if you're not authentic and not living your true self, and you go online and you're posting all sort of things, you would even not be able to engage, because by the time people engage with you, they see that, no, this is not what I thought, or this is not what I perceived online. So it's an advice to everyone here. If you constantly develop yourself, you would not need to be superficial. If you constantly develop yourself and you have the value, you go online and show who you are. Please do not be tempted to go online and start brandishing what you are not. Because when you do that, then you'll be very careful, networking with people, because when they now bring up those topics you talk about, or when they now, try to interact with you, they see that you do not have what you're saying. So I think that's just what I'm going to say about that. Let's learn more from the personal branding session tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Shola. All right, we have Elizabeth and so we'll take it in this order: Elizabeth, Sweetness, Dara, and Michael. And I think that will be it, because we're out of time. We need to jump into the next session. Elizabeth, go ahead. Elizabeth, are you there? Okay, if you're not, we'll go straight to Sweetness. Unmute and ask your question. ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Thank
morning.
you, Marshalla. You talked about getting a mentor for yourself. So my question is, what do we do when our mentor does not have our time? Like, okay, how are we supposed to maintain our mentor for the mentor to have our time to actually give us what we want, tell us what we want to hear?
Okay, thank you.
Your mentor will not have your time. Thank you, sweetness. You would have time for your mentor. So I think sometimes we get this mentorship thing, misconstrued. And I'm also a victim of saying your mentor do not have your time. I'm a victim because I truly do not have your time. Okay. A lot of people come to you and say, please mentor me. When you go to events, you'll find those people who say, mentor me, mentor me, mentor me. Right. I say, yes, I'm going to mentor you. And the next thing is you go silent. Mentorship is supposed to be activated by the mentee, not the mentor. So the burden of that mentorship is on you as the mentee to seek out ways to be of value even to your mentor. Okay, you see your mentor having a program, for example, attend the program. That's mentorship. Your mentor is posting something, repost it. That's mentorship. You have an issue in your organization, text your mentor and say, please, ma, can I have an advice on so. I mean, you need to keep that relationship going. Don't expect your mentor to be the one chasing you. No, you be the one chasing your mentor. If you say that somebody is mentoring you and the person is having an event like this, put on their DP and you are not there, you're not a mentee and they don't need to invite you. And your mentor is running a project and you are seeing the mentor posting the project, you are not reposting and saying, please, ma, how can I be of help in this program? What do I do? That's mentorship. And as you're in the program, in the project, you're learning, you're seeing how they're executing, you're seeing how they're communicating, you're seeing the leadership. That's mentorship. I don't know any other thing that is mentorship. I'm not going to call anybody and say, let me mentor you. Okay, today our mentorship is 9 to 10. So make the mentorship active yourself.
All right, thank you very much. That was very apt. Thank you. Dara, you're next. Oh, I have more hands. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time. Dara, unmute and go ahead with your question, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you, Shola, for this wonderful section. I really appreciate everything you said, and they really spoke to me. Okay, my question is regarding the age, right? There is this conversation I was having with some of my colleagues, and we are discussing about career, family, and all of that. And I told them that it comes to, we're also talking about marriage. And I said, well, when it comes to career and marriage, that based on what I've learned, my experience, I feel like if you marry young, it's fine. If you marry old, it's like if you marry, like, let's say your 30s, 40s, it's still fine. But the thing is that when it comes to your career and whatever you want to build, there will always be a slowdown. But you don't need to be worried or scared. Oh, I'm at this certain age and I'm not yet married and my career is this and that. That what will I do? And so there were some people who were against it, some people were not understanding. So I would like to ask you, as a woman, as someone that is career focused, what advice would you give to young women, maybe that are in their maybe late 20s, 30s, that are worried about marriage and having a family? What advice would you give to them?
Okay.
What kind of
I think
advice
you're talking about work-life integration.
Yes.
Okay, Dara, my advice would be find yourself before your marriage. If you find yourself, you have a good idea of who you are and what you are called to do, the career you want to build. That's a foundation. Once you have that, every other thing becomes easy. It means that marriage cannot stop you. It means that having children and family cannot stop you. because you already have that foundation. You know who you are, you know where you're going, and you know that as you go on that journey, there are many bus stops, okay? There are many passengers you pick up on the way, but your destination remains your destination. So having a career and then having children, having a marriage, having any other thing that comes in between is complementary. And that's why you keep building yourself and developing yourself, so that no matter what comes by while you're in the journey of your career, you're unstoppable. So that's what I will say. And that's what career integration speaks about. That's why your career must be you. It must be you. So you're doing it stresslessly. But even as things come in between, you're still able to navigate. It's a full course. I may not be able to tell you all that, but the foundation of it is knowing who you are and knowing your destination, so that no matter how many things you pick up on the way to your destination, you keep going until you get to where you're going.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you very much for that. Thank you,
That is-
Dara.
I have a question.
Okay. So
Just
what did you
said.
say?
I have a question based on what she just.
Okay, you're going to make it brief because we have a lot of people online that are waiting to ask. Is that possible? Thank you.
Yes.
Straight to the
Go ahead.
point, please.
Yes, please.
Question now. Advice would you give to a young woman that got married without finding herself, and she's in this marriage stuck? What advice would you give to her to be able to cover herself and go further? Thank you.
So in very simple terms, is get a mentor. There are many things a person can do, but first of all, get a mentor, because someone now needs to hear you out and be able to help you. Get a mentor, get a coach. A coach would help you to get to where you're going by asking you questions and helping you find answers to your own question. So, because where you're stuck is a mental state. And for you to come out of that mental state, there has to be light. You have to know something differently that you need to now start operating. So the first thing will not be taking action. The first thing is, first of all, reflecting and then finding someone who can help you out of that state, and then define for you what steps to take to get out of it.
All right.
All
Thank you very
right. Thank you so much. All right. Dara, someone has a message for you in the in-call chat. Someone say speak to someone, so you can check that out and, jump on it. Okay. Michael is next. If Michael could just go ahead, hit the nail on the head with a question. Are you still there, Michael?
Hello,
All
can
right.
you hear me?
We can hear
Hello?
you.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. My question is that thank God our speaker is from the HR department. I just want to find out, do HR still read CVs? Because I think these days you write a lot of CVs, and before now, we write CVs and get invited. But these days, it seems like you write CVs and as if HR is not seeing your CVs anymore. What is really happening? Secondly, this lecture, please, can we have a recorded version? I really appreciate if this seminar or the webinar can be posted back to us, especially we that participated, And thirdly, I want to ask, how do one grow himself in the HR career pathway? I have an MBA from ABU and an MBA with a specializing in HR. You understand? How can I develop from here?
All right.
All right, Michael. Thank you very much. Did you get all questions? Yeah.
Okay. Let me take it from the first one. The first one is, I'm echoing. Can you please turn off your mic, Michael? Thank you. So the first question is, does HR read CVs? I can't answer that question for any HR person, because the truth is, we're wearing our different caps and in different capacity. But I will tell you that the last time I checked, 94% of recruiters are hiring online. Okay, 94% of recruiters are on LinkedIn. Most times recruiters would have looked you up on LinkedIn before they ask you for your CV. Nobody comes to ask you directly for your CV. They must have seen you somewhere. Maybe a referral, though, may have made them ask you for your CV. If you do not have a profile online, please go and set up a profile. Not only on LinkedIn, there are many more. There are many more, Fiverr, Upworks, and all those. Go online and check. That's where recruiters are. I don't know any recruiter that is not online now sourcing for vacancies. So if you're sending your CV and is not getting recognition or is not getting you a call, you may want to check your CV again. You probably may be applying for jobs that your CV is not aligned to, and so that's why you're not being called. Or maybe you don't have an online presence, which of course is the first place of call before your CV is requested. So it may not be the HR people, because all HR people may not be in that space of not viewing CV. It may just be something you need to do. So you can speak to a career coach to help you evaluate that. Let's talk about the third one, because the second one is to share slide. I believe the organizers would do that. The third one says, what can I do to build a career in HR? You already have your educational qualification. That's very good. If you have CIPM certification, that would be great. I always say that certification, it shows your career path. When you have a certification and I pick up your CV, even if your experience is another part, and I see you just acquired a certification, I will know that this is where you want to build a career in. So if you already have educational background and certification in HR, the next thing for you to do is start looking for opportunities to practice. If you do not get an employment yet to practice HR, please look for opportunities to volunteer and look for, of course, learning, be in the network of HR people. There would always be opportunities for people like you who have the background but don't have the experience. So be in the circle of HR people, go to CIPM conferences, go to be in their WhatsApp group, be in their network. And as you learn, you also look for opportunities. That's what I can say for now.
All right, thank you so much, Shola. Adetola, you will be the last person asking a question today. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good
afternoon, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Please,
we can.
my question is, I heard somebody talk, Dara was talking about a young woman, what should she put first, marriage or career? The world is more global. We are well informed now. But for some of us that have put marriage ahead of career, and we are even trying to find our path into a different type or a different career entirely. I have noticed that even after getting certifications, going for higher degrees, but I've noticed that it's been a bit difficult to get placement to practice because of age. It has now become that, okay, you're about 35 already. And so most times they would usually tell you they want young women between the ages of 25 to 35. So the minute you have crossed 35, it has become difficult, even with all of the certifications and all of the higher degrees. So as an HR person, ma'am, how do we navigate the age thing? What do we do?
Thank you very much, Adetola. Age is no longer a factor in out there. I've seen a lot of people who are aged in quotes, and depending, you called 35. I've seen people who are more than 35 being employed, even in a new space that is unrelated to what they've done in the past. We are now in the age where your skill would speak even more volumes than your educational qualification, than your age, and than your previous experience. The question employers will always ask is, what skill do you bring on board? What experience do you have? I think the challenge a lot of people would have is the opportunity to even showcase themselves and their skill, not that they are not being considered for jobs because of their age. I think that's one of the myths I share. That's one of the myths of unemployment. You know, people believe that their age is a factor. And once you have that mindset, it will limit the way that you reach out for job opportunities. So please, I would like you to first debunk that mindset. It doesn't exist. I'm a HR person. I don't ask for age. People don't even put their age on their CV anymore, and I don't ask. It's for me discrimination when you ask somebody for age before you hire them. Yes, we can even permutate to say, oh, when did you graduate? Maybe that can help us to see how old you are, but it's not a factor anymore. I've interviewed people without looking at their CV. I just want to know what you know. What experience do you have? What can you do? What skill do you have? You know, so please, that's a thing of the old and of the past. Is a mental, state you need to debunk. You need to tell yourself that age is no longer a factor. Age is nothing in today's employment. The world has gone global, and I believe that right now, what is sellable is skill. So look at your CV again and ask yourself, what value do I have and what value do I bring? Even with your age, okay, it's not relevant. Trust me when I say that age is not relevant anymore. And nobody submits CV with age anymore. Maybe some people do, but I don't ask.
Yeah.
And I've been in circles that nobody cares about your age. We just want to know what you bring on board. So if you have that mindset, it will help you to reach out more and more confidently. So I wish you the best.